Part 12. This is part 12. Now, one podcast I did find on YouTube that I really do like now, though, too, is I found the Bob Saget podcast.
Oh, yeah?
Really good, really smart, really insightful, and funny as heck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Bob Saget is good. I like Bob Saget.
Oh, yeah. Underrated game show host. Very underrated. Good.
Oh, yeah. He did some game show hosting.
He did one versus 100.
Right.
I saw Nashville Squares, a little too corny for my taste.
Right.
Way too corny.
I remember Nashville Squares. That was on for a little while.
I watched it, just not, no. Bob tries well, but too many cooks in the kitchen. Bob has a hard enough time trying to play the straight man.
Yeah.
Because the rule of being the host of Hollywood Squares is you got to be the straight man to 9 comedians.
Yeah, as I remember from when I was a kid, Hollywood Squares was a funny game show.
Well, for the most part, though, too, the John Bauman era doesn't count as a funny show.
Right.
It was unintentionally funny.
Well, what was funny was the casts that you had.
You had Paul Lynde, Wally Cox,
yeah.
Charlie Weaver,
Betty White,
Vincent Price, Buddy Hackett.
Lucille Ball showed up occasionally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you had some really good folks in there. Yeah, you just mentioned his name. White-headed, wore glasses.
Charlie Weaver.
Yeah. He was the dry humor guy.
Oh, definitely. George Gobel.
Yeah, he'd shoot off a great one-liner and have everybody in stitches.
Well, so did Paul Lynde.
Yeah. Paul Lynde. Yeah. Yeah, he was funny, very distinctive.
I remember Squares. I didn't even know the original until Game Show Network came around in the early 2000s on Dish. I remember the John Davidson version, watching it in reruns on USA in the 90s. And then I remember the Whoopi Tom Bergeron version of Squares.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't watch it then.
After Whoopi left Squares, it got a lot better. Tom Bergeron was really good with that, though, too. Martin Mull was hilarious. They did a couple of Game Show Host Week, and they brought Peter Marshall back. He was plugging his book about his time with as host of Squares. And they actually let him host an episode. And Peter asked Martin the question, what are you more likely to die from, choking, drowning, or poisoning? And Martin goes, I think so, yes. And then Peter does, no, one or the other. No, that's what I tell myself every time I light up, and gets a good laugh.
Yeah, Peter Marshall.
Peter Marshall, yes.
Yeah, he was one that I remember. Big guy, square shoulders, dark head.
Yes. That sounds like
had a great laugh.
That was like Mr. That was Mr. Game Show. That was a big head, square shoulders.
Yeah, he was a good,
great host.
He did a great job throwing it out there for the.
He set it up perfectly for the panelists.
Yeah, he could set it up for the panelists really well.
Langley, Arkansas.
Yeah, he would loft a softball up there and just let somebody hit it.
Paul Lynde was knocking him out of the park every other day.
Yeah.